Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of sedans. So next to me here we have the Hyundai Sonata, and on the other side we have the Honda Accord. So we'll look at the interior, the exterior, and see which one might just be right for you. Let's start by looking at the Honda Accord. Now this is going to be the 2023 hybrid touring trim, so it's going to be pretty well loaded up and it's going to give you a ton of great features. Now the Accord recently has gone through a refresh, so the styling is going to be very different from the old Accord, and I really like it. It kind of seems like a modern, more grown-up version of the Accord that we've come to love. But this one, you're going to add things like those cool LED headlights up front, as well as an LED daytime running light. This touring model also adds the 19-inch wheels, which look very sharp to the exterior of this vehicle. Now the Honda Accord has been a name that everyone knows and recognizes, and it's been around for a really long time, and for good reason. The reliability, the usability, I mean everything about the Honda Accord is something we've all come to know and love, and it just delivers on that even more with the newest trim level. So this one has the 2-liter hybrid powertrain, and that's going to get you a combined 44 mpgs. So if you're doing a lot of city driving or highway driving, the Accord might be one to look at to help stay away from the fuel pump. But let's hop over and look at that Hyundai Sonata. Now this is the 2023 Hyundai Sonata Limited. Now while this isn't the hybrid version, this one does have the turbocharged GDI engine, which is going to get you about 37 miles per gallon on the highway and kind of the high 20 range when you're looking at the city. So not quite the same fuel economy when comparing it with the hybrid, but with the standard Accord it's going to be very similar, or when looking at the Sonata Hybrid you are going to be very close in that fuel economy range. Now there is going to be a lot of similarities between the Honda Accord and the Hyundai Sonata. Now this one does have the parking sensors all the way around, so with the limited model obviously it's going to be very well loaded up. There's going to be your backup camera as well. This one's going to have some pretty cool exterior features like these 18-inch wheels, and I just like the design and style of the new Sonatas. As far as size comparison between the Accord and the Sonata, it's going to be very similar. Interior volume is going to be similar. Trunk space, you're going to put about 4 sets of golf clubs in either one of these vehicles, so there's going to be more than enough room. But where you're going to want to be is on the inside. So let's hop back over to the Honda Accord and we'll check out that driver's seat. Okay, so now we're in the Honda Accord Touring. And again, it's running right now, but since this is the hybrid, there's going to be an EV ready on the digital display here that's going to let you know when it's in the hybrid mode. So you've got your fuel gauge, and then you've also got your battery gauge up there. So you can just, again, stay away from the gas pump and help save a few bucks. And maybe you're not ready to go to a full EV. I think a hybrid is a great alternative there. So let's look at some of the infotainment stuff. What do we always have with us? Our cell phones, right? So this is going to have a wireless charging, as well as it's going to have wireless Apple CarPlay, as well as Android Auto. So this is a 12.3-inch display, and it's a light years ahead of maybe some of the previous Accords, and I love this system. It's very responsive. I mean, you can flick through the system here, and on the right side, it's got your radio settings. You can pull up a compass or the clock, or just the power flow for the hybrid system. It's so cool. And again, most of the time you're probably going to be using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if you're like me, which makes it very simple. And there's also voice control. So I can click this little button on the steering wheel and then just tell it what I want, and I'm paying attention to the road ahead. Now this one also has the heads-up display. It's really cool. If you come up to a stop sign, it will kind of pop up on the heads-up display, or it's going to show you miles per hour in there. It's a really neat system that again is just going to keep your focus on the road ahead. Now, what else does the Touring model offer? This is going to have heated seats. It's also going to have the air-conditioned seats, which is great. So Minnesota winters, you're not going to be freezing, and in the summer, if you haven't had those cooled seats before, it is an absolute game changer. Now, there's also just going to be a couple USB-Cs down here, and one other thing that's really cool, they still left a volume knob on here. So you can control it through the steering wheel or the little knob. It's not actually built into the screen, which makes it very simple. I like the design of the vents for the new generation Accord. That's a really cool design that flows through. And then this also will have the Bose sound system, and up above we do have our sunroof. So if you do a lot of highway driving, or maybe you're just running around town all the time and you find yourself in the car and don't maybe need a full SUV or the third row SUV, I think the Accord's a great option. There's the Honda Safety Sense, so you're going to have adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. I mean, there's a host of safety features in here that's going to keep you, and maybe if your family's in the vehicle, everyone is going to be safe, and it makes it very usable for day to day. I mean, with great fuel economy from the hybrid system, there's a lot to like about the Honda Accord. So there's a lot of equipment here. We try to cover a brief amount, but again, in the back seat, I was surprised at just how much room there is. I mean, there's plenty of leg room back there, and like I said, there's a lot of trunk space. So maybe if you don't need a larger SUV or don't want to go up to a mid-size SUV, this is easier to get around town. It's easier to park. I mean, this and the Sonata are maybe great options instead of going to an SUV. But let's hop over to that Hyundai Sonata. We'll check that one out. Okay, so now we're in the Hyundai Sonata Limited. Again, this is the 1.6 liter turbocharged engine, and it's really fun to drive. I noticed kind of just cruising around today, it's very zippy, and again, you do sacrifice a little bit of fuel economy with the turbo, but man, is it a cool ride to drive. Now from there, let's talk about our infotainment screen. So again, we've got our phone, we've got wireless charging down here. This is gonna have the Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. And similar to the Honda Accord, when I click the reverse button here, this one has the backup camera, and it's actually a 360 camera. So you can see out the sides, and it's gonna be really nice when you're backing into a tight parking spot, or if you're at a busy grocery store or something like that, makes it very usable. So a few other things very similar to the Honda Accord here. We're gonna have the ventilated seats as well as the heated seats, and this one also has that heated steering wheel. So when I click that on, we're going into fall winter season here. That is absolutely one of my favorite features. Now another cool thing on the steering wheel, it's gonna have obviously all your buttons to control your infotainment system and your cruise control, but it's got these paddle shifters. So I can manually go through the gears, I can give those a click up or down, and it adds to the sportiness and fun of this vehicle. So like I mentioned before when I clicked into reverse, so this has the shift by wire system. So what that means is you just click park, reverse, neutral, drive, and it kind of frees up a little bit of space. So you don't have the big standard shifter in here, get a little bit more room for your cup holders and your kind of phone and storage cubby down here, which makes it really cool. So one of the other cool things on the key fob of this vehicle, not only does it have the remote start, but it also has Hyundai Smart Park. So if you're in the city or if you're in a really tight parking space, you can actually remote start the vehicle, and then you hold the button forward and back, and it's actually gonna drive the car with no one in it a couple feet forward or back, so it makes it easier to get in the vehicle so you don't have to kind of squeeze in. It's one of those really kind of strange but very usable and cool features. Now beyond that, similar to the Honda Accord, this is gonna have the memory seats. It's also going to have the Bose sound system in here. So again, the radio sounds great, and it's gonna be the same system basically in both vehicles. So legroom for the rear passengers, like I said, you could put 5 adults in this car comfortably. Now one thing that's cool in this Hyundai Sonata Limited, you also have the panoramic sunroof. So that goes all the way to the back, and it really opens it up. If you've got the kids in the back or anyone else, it really does make the rear seats feel more spacious. Okay, so overall, kind of comparing the two, what do we think? A lot of the same equipment. I mean, it kind of breaks down to style. Which driver's seat do you like best? I mean, both seating positions are a little bit different, so you gotta get out, hop in them, see what you think, take them for a spin, and find the perfect sedan for you. So that was just a quick look at the Hyundai Sonata and the Honda Accord. Now, if you'd like more information, you can visit us online at walzer.com or stop by any of our dealerships. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks again for watching.